started. Let's see. I don't do this professionally, so let me just make sure you say that right. You can stand. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is such an honor and such a treat to have you all here. Thank you so much. It's going to be short. The first one, I want to introduce you all to this man. We have been friends. This is John Sweet. He's the reason we're here. John uses this building only for nonprofit events. He'll let people use it only if they're raising money for a charitable function. And we have that on the invitation. Two things that Harold suggested: Great Rivers Greenway Foundation and the American Bicycling Education Association. But that was your cost of admission, just so you know. If you don't want to contribute to either of those, nonprofit of your choice is fine. But I just got to say a couple of words about this man, because this is one of the Gedolim. If you're Jewish, you know Gedolim, the great ones of St. Louis. His fingerprints are all over bicycling and pedestrian. If you see a bicycle or pedestrian improvement in this town, he helped fund it. And he just, I can't even, I have loved John ever since I met him. And I just, thank you for this.
Happy birthday.
And I'm going to turn this over to Miss Rachel.
Welcome everyone. Yes. Oh my goodness. It is really humbling to be standing before all of you, because you each know Harold in your own unique way. And well done, monsieur. Well done. So about 6 months ago, Harold said, when I turn 70, I'm retiring. I'm done. It's all over. And I said, well, okay, we're going to get ready. We're going to be ready. And for the last 6 months, we're trying to get ready. And are we ready? I don't think so, but
Harold,
I'm going to do just fine. I am really happy to be standing before you. So I Googled Cancerians, and I came up with this because Harold is born on July 15th. So Cancerians bring enormous compassion and care to other people. No other sign has the emotional intelligence and genuine understanding of human nature to make people feel better and stronger. This is a star sign you want in your corner. They are also funny, lively, interesting, and clever.
All right.
Thank you, Google. I cannot think of a better person to lead the charge with so many interesting residents that rent from us and who know you and call one of our buildings home. I think that your letter writing is like beyond magnificent, including someone who flushed an avocado seed down the toilet, and Harold wrote, "Madame, that'll be the most expensive guacamole you've ever made." And that was in the early days. I wish that our dad was here right now. He is in West County, and he's thinking about you, Harold. So it is my charge to ask Robert Simmons to come up to the front with me. We're really grateful to our SF Shannon community. So our employees are here, and if you're an employee at SF Shannon, raise your hand. All right, yeah. If you're a vendor for SF Shannon, raise your hand. Yes, you're a vendor, yes. If you're a resident of SF Shannon, raise your hand. Yes, and if you're amused by SF Shannon, raise your hand. Woo! So today is actually Robert who works with us at one of our buildings. It's his birthday today, and we wanted to sing him happy birthday. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Robert. Happy birthday to you. So we're going to have cake in just a little bit, and thank you all so very much for being here. It is beyond touching to see your faces. So with that, I turn the mic to my sister.
I just want to tell one short story. So we never come out as such, but we actually, I don't like the word owner, but I guess it's a simple word. We're the owners of SF Shannon, but nobody ever wants to talk to us. They want to talk to, where'd he go? They want to talk to Mr. Shannon. I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to Mr. Shannon. On that note, and of course, all of you here know him as, in the way you know him. I mean, Mr. Shannon is just like this speck of his identity. And with that, I would actually like to give the microphone to Jared Boyd.
Happy birthday, happy retirement, happy post, whatever you decide to do. There's a whole nother life, I guess, apparently, after working, so. Good afternoon, my name's Jared Boyd. I have the pleasure of serving as Chief of Staff to Mayor Tashara Jones, but more importantly, I also have the pleasure of being Harold's neighbor for the past almost 11 years. And based on not just pure nepotism and being neighbors, but really Harold's contributions to our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is, if you just came to St. Louis yesterday, the West Pine we live on and the Laclede and that corridor that we live in is not that way by accident. It is because people believed in the city of St. Louis when we were not at our highest point, and people stuck around and people made a livable place for successive people and neighbors like me to come to. So I personally appreciate all that you have done for our neighborhood to make it what it is today. So in addition to the immense contributions that he has made to our neighborhood as our longtime neighborhood president, Harold's imprints with respect to biking, with respect to real estate, are all over the city. And because of that, today is Harold Karabell Day in the city of St. Louis.
Politics is, or it ought to be, not about ideology, and not about inflexibility, that I'm right always and you're absolutely wrong, and not demonizing this person or that person. It's about quid pro quos and compromises. So this is payback. This is payback time, because Jared's wife asked me before the mayoral election, "Whom are you going to vote for, Harold?" Oh, no, it was after. I'm sorry, it was after the election. And I said, "You know whom I vote for?" And I knew that Jared would have a high-ranking position in the Tashara Jones administration. I knew that. And I said, I voted for your husband. Yeah, and so did David and Sharon. So, and my vote was well cast. Thank you, Jared. For a number of reasons. Jared mentioned living on West Pine for decades. David and Sharon are here. They've been our neighbors for 30 years? 30 years. Terry and Leah Kester are here. They were founders of the Neighborhood Association 43 years ago, I believe. And they have seniority in the association. Where are they? Did they leave? Stand up. Yeah. Oh, and Kari from the neighborhood, a newer resident. Who else is here from West Pine Laclede? Oh, Doug and Bob. Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw you. Yet you've been... This is an institution. They look like human beings, but they're really an institution. They run an institution on Laclede that has been there how many years? Since 79. It is a wonderful place for children of all ages, and you can introduce it yourself.
Let's see. You need to quit deflecting. I want
Oh,
Kerr to
I'm sorry.
Sure, so whereas Harold Karabell is being celebrated by his family and friends on the eve of his retirement date, July 15, 2022, which also happens to be his 70th birthday, and whereas Harold first arrived in St. Louis in 1970 as an undergraduate at Washington University, at that time he began a lifelong love affair with the city and its architecture. After graduation, he worked briefly in the St. Louis Public Schools and as a social worker for the Missouri Division of Family Services. And whereas Harold returned to St. Louis in 1984 with Karen and became general manager for her family's fledgling city business. Through his leadership, that company has adhered to its mission of managing multi-family apartment buildings, which are good neighbors. And whereas Harold resides with Karen in the same city home in which they raised their 3 sons, Gabe, Al, Eli, and whereas Harold served as a founding board member of the South Grand Community Improvement District and continues to serve on the Park Central Development Committee. He also serves as president of the West Pine Laclede Neighborhood Association. His leadership has been a steady hand for more than 2 decades, and whereas Harold uses a bicycle for transportation, is known for honking a clown's horn to announce his presence. He also leads bicycle tours of cemeteries and historic St. Louis City neighborhoods for local groups and Airbnb experiences. And whereas Harold, an Indianapolis native, has chosen St. Louis as his home, making him both a native Hoosier and a true Hoosier. Now I, therefore, Tishara O. Jones, Mayor of the City of St. Louis, do hereby proclaim July 15th as Harold Karabell Day. So it's tomorrow for his birthday. Harold Karabell Day is tomorrow.
That's a good proclamation.
It's very, very nice, but I'd like to tell people when it comes to titles and honorific names and things like this. For example, I have been president of the West Pine Laclede Neighborhood Association for 20 of the last 22 years. Now, why is that? It's because it's a job. Because it's a position that a man whom I call El Trumpo, or wannabe Caudillo, can only dream of. I'm always nominated without opposition. And I'm always elected by consensus. Why? Because no one else wants the job. El Presidente, I call him El Trumpo, or wannabe Caudillo, yes. Who gets the mic now? Oh! Thank you.
Tell them about your chickens and your...
Well, okay. Well, I've been outed. On days when I'm really depressed about the state of the world, really depressed, I say, if I am fated to do this life again, I'll spend it with hens rather than with humans. But having everyone here today, of course, reverses that judgment a little, quite a bit. But I do want to say something else. So I'm a vegetarian, as you know, and I do raise chickens. I raise 5 in my own backyard, and I take care of 6 in a community garden at the corner of Enright and Whittier. And although I requested an all-vegetarian meal, the person who organized this thought, well, for the people who want to enjoy, meat or fowl, we'll have that on the menu. Well, I will tell you, if you were to raise chickens, you would never consume a chicken. What you would do, you would only eat their remarkable eggs. So These are 2 eggs laid by the Enright Eggers, I call them, at the community garden at Enright and Whittier. One is laid by a leghorn, the only chicken of the bunch, who lays white eggs. The majority of chickens in the world, and among my 2 small flocks, lay brown eggs. But look at this. One of the chickens lays a green egg. She's called an Easter egg or an Araucana. And I guarantee you, anyone who cares for chickens and raises them, feeds them on a daily basis, will eat their eggs, but will never eat their flesh. I can assure you of that.
On that note, you have wonderful food.
And I'm sure the food tastes to me as good as it looks, and I'm sure the chicken tastes good also.
So this was so hard to keep a secret from you, but were you really surprised?
Totally. Of course. Of course. So I want to tell you that I am the anti-Walt Whitman. I neither sing myself nor do I celebrate myself. So the party is entirely someone else's doing. I actually want no part of a party, none whatsoever. I think you are the usual suspect here, correct? Or you and Rachel. Although I think my oldest son, Gabe, did put the idea in Karen's ear that since I'm 70 and about to retire as well simultaneously, it might be nice to do something. I said, absolutely not. This is not what I want. But having said that, it's turned out better than I could ever expect. Simply wonderful. Oh, hello. Good to see you. So, those of you who have heard me talk at other events know that I like to quote Christopher Wren, who designed the rebuilding of London in the aftermath of the Great Fire of 1666. It was.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember, of course. Oh, we never finished Doug and Bob. Again, their institution is Kramer's Marionettes, which is wonderful. As Bob says, as Doug likes to say, it's something new under the sun, live entertainment, live marionette performance at 43, what's the address?
4143.
4143 Laclede. Great.
We got Shannon doing diamonds, our girls are spread and Jolly, and Becky here doing ukulele lady. That's a pineapple sister.
With the marionettes doing that. But anyway, I like to quote Christopher Wren. I quoted Christopher Wren, for example, at my mother-in-law's funeral. So this is a much happier occasion. So Wren redesigns London in the aftermath of the Great Fire. We had our London in 1849. In the midst of a cholera epidemic, we had a fire that burned down much of what's today the riverfront. But anyway, on Wren's grave in St. Paul's Church are the words, "If you seek his monument, look around you." So I hope you won't think it's too grandiose for me to say the same thing. When I look around at all of you and I'm honored by your very presence, I think of that. Thank you very, very much.